What's poppin', homies, and welcome to Stav's True Plan, the podcast where we don't figure out what the podcast is. It's up to you to decide. I'm your host, Stav. Now, I must be honest because I believe a good relationship is built on honesty. I was gonna post a rant, right? This was going to originally be a rant. And as I was talking, I just didn't like how I was sounding because it just sounded so bitchy and complainy. And I think that there's a better way to attack the topic at hand. What I was going to say was I was going to talk about how the world has been recently, and it's I guess it's tragedy, the world's current tragedy, because I do believe that there is a tragedy. But I just thought that instead of focusing on what was wrong, that we should focus on fixing it. That might be a better way to attack that, because you know how like your mother, people with siblings know this. That's what I was trying to say. When one of your siblings, or maybe you, created a mess and you didn't clean it, and your mom stormed in the room, who did this? Okay. We don't need to figure out who, and maybe why is a little trivial. But the most important thing you must do is just get your ass up and clean it. It's not important knowing those things. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but most of the time it just is not that important. So I guess that's how I'm going to approach this episode, is the nature of happiness. How can happiness be attainable for you? Maybe I've spoken about this before. I think I say this in every episode just to cover my ass because my memory is so garbage. But we're just going to dive right into the nature of happiness and what it means for us. But I guess maybe we're going to figure out who made the mess, right? Because like I said earlier, maybe it's not necessary. I believe in this case it is, because this is how we get to fix the mess. Because objects are trivial. Who made the mess of the objects? Pick up the objects. But we don't know why we're unhappy. So let's figure out what it is that's causing this issue. And I think that there are many reasons. And it was the reasons that I was actually going to, rant about. So a big gripe that I had was there's a big problem, because this is nothing we've never seen this before. The amount of technology that we have at our disposal is astronomical. We have never seen anything like it, let alone the smartphones that we all, and I mean all, have in our pockets. You're probably watching it on this right now. You're watching this on your little smartphone, right? Watch it on the TV. It's better for your neck anyway, okay? That's number one. Number two, we have so many different facets of technology. We got these VR sets. We got I can't even think, but like there's more software than hardware, it seems. Like there's more applications, apps to spend your time on, like with there being, obviously, TikTok is a little newer in the game, but also it was also known as Musical.ly for y'all. Musical.ly was fun. There is just so much to plague our attention with. And our attention span is absolutely fried. When I clipped that shit, I'm sorry. Absolutely fried. We can't listen to a conversation to our loved ones without there being like, I guess a buffer. Without there being a buffer to kind of, I guess, make what they're saying more interesting, because we think most things are boring now if it doesn't have to do with that endless doom scroll. I was talking like I made the realization there's really nothing enriching that on my phone. There's nothing enriching on there. Like, really, like even the phone games I got, the social media. I try using social media for Stav's True Plan, right? But that's not business only. I can scroll on Stav's True Plan too. So it's hard trying to find the management of technology and organic life, which is my greatest issue, right? Okay, because nowadays we're getting to where a lot of people are all of a sudden are having ADHD, and in my experience, of course, you know that I have ADHD, but something I can see in people is that like ADHD doesn't spawn randomly. It's present in childhood and just doesn't get monitored. It doesn't get scanned. It doesn't get detected. That's the right word. But now, doing a research, in my communications class, I was doing a presentation on organic life management with technology, and doing research is that when it comes to technology, an overuse of technology can create ADHD-like symptoms in individuals, which can be perceived as ADHD, but it's really not. It's just the lack of our attention span being absolutely toasted by our phones. It's terrible. And not only that, right? When this episode, The Nature of Happiness, if we're going to talk about happiness, I was doing research on when it comes to happiness and technology. I was looking at a graph, and it was like teenagers experiencing the most happiness doing what? I don't remember exactly what it was. Everything that had to do with technology was what made teenagers generally more sad. Social media, phones, they're truly, and I promise you this, there is really no benefit to being on your phone. And I think that's one of the greatest issues that we have is that like these little fucking phones that we have, we can't seem to I guess figure out how to put it away. Like, look at me right now, it's in front of me, but it's because I have bullet points that I think I should, talk about. I guess a lot of the problems that I do see with technology is that not only that it's shoved in our faces, but we're also shoving it in our children's faces too. Like, listen, technology in it of itself is unnatural. It is not naturally occurring. I had a very organic childhood. I had, of course, a DS, right? But I remember playing outside a lot, and I played outside a lot. It's because the DS, you might have different games, but there's only so much time you can spend playing games before it's like, all right, that's enough. What's next? You know what I mean? And for me, I played a lot outside, and I don't really see that no more. I mean, of course, in your little babies, but when they're getting a little older, when they're almost reaching their teens, they can't be caught without a phone. All of their friends have a phone, so you can't leave them without one because they'll be ridiculed, seriously ridiculed. Moving away from technology, why is everyone generally unhappy? Is that a lot of people put their attention, to me, it seems that like where it could be being put somewhere else. A lot of people put attention towards other people than on their own selves. And this does seem, I guess, very obvious because it's too easy to say that. It's too easy to say that, people just need to be paying more attention towards themselves. But it's so, you can't stress it enough, right? And this has to do with technology. I think technology is the devil, especially our phones, because, of course, with now Twitter, Instagram, there are so many people who, even TikTok is so volatile and nasty and mean. So terrible. I don't think that you can attain happiness with the inclusion of things in your life. I think it's easier to attain happiness with the exclusion of things from your life. What what there's an abundance of wrong. And what is wrong? I think if you look at your screen time, you'll be very disappointed, because if you figure out like what you've always wanted to do, if you figure out how long does it take to master something, right? And then you Google that, of course you can Google that. Why would you Google it? Go look in the dictionary or something. But if you figure out that the time that you're wasting on your phone that's something that you could be actually mastering a skill or an art, or doing things that you said you wish you always had time for, that's the biggest problem, is that our algorithms know us a little too good. They know us a little too well, right? It knows us so well that I hate it. I hate what it does to me, but it makes me a hypocrite because I still go on it. Why do we still go on it? The fear of missing out. The fear of missing out what your friends are doing, what you wish you could do. So you see it and be like, oh, look at Becky's at fucking these concerts and I hate Becky. That's what you're going to be missing out on? Text message is enough to be connected to the people we need to be connected to, because we don't need to be connected to everybody. Jordan Peterson said we weren't ever meant to be this connected. And I absolutely agree. And you know what? I was afraid to say his name, because everyone ridicules everyone for following a certain person. Isn't that terrible? We're all meant to love each other, and I was afraid to say his name. He said that we weren't ever meant to be this connected, and look what it's done to us. Look what it's done to us. Do you remember once upon a time when your favorite YouTubers were a select few people? Do you remember when your favorite people who you used to follow when you were young it almost seemed impossible to be a part of that community because of how coveted it seemed? Now everyone is there, even people you know and love personally. That's insane. That was never meant to happen. And it's created so much hostility. It's created so much hate. Why? We're all going to die one day. And I want to say it until you know it. We're going to die one day. And you spend your life unhappy. How do you cultivate happiness? Happiness for people is many different things. It could be anything you want it to be. And let it be so. Let it be anything you want it to be. I want you to be happy. Okay? I want you to be happy. I just find it really hard to be happy now, especially because there are things that are constantly making us unhappy. And we're almost like dry grass. We're easily lit on fire. Why? Why is there so much hate? I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to feel good. I want everyone to be good. I want there to be more good. There is just so much hostility. There's so much negativity. We're all like keen to jump on ourselves, like each other, like, and not even in a good way either. Not the way the ancient Greeks did it. Yeah. For those of you no, okay? Let's just say that, okay? Gay orgies. That's right. Can you truly achieve happiness? Yeah. I think if you open your mind, I think if you are more open, I think if you understand more, I think if you open your heart more, I think an increase in understanding will make you that way. I think you can achieve happiness. I think you can achieve true happiness. But as long as everyone is in each other's business, how is that? How is that? I don't try to pretend like I know all the answers. I never do. So why is it me trying to tell you to be happy? Why is it me that tries to remind you to be happy? And why is it me that's teaching you the ways to be happy? Why should you listen to me? Because I want it. Because I know how you can at least use my words to do it. The human society that we live in is way too complex, and it begs too much of the individual. There are societies so non-complex. There are people. I don't think we all in the pursuit of money. We have created a world where happiness is almost impossible. We can't be happy. So what do? They feed us these. Here you go. Laugh for 3 hours of the day. Spend your life away. Laugh and be merry for that time. And once you get off, you'll be sad and you'll want to go back on. Oh, but then you realize you're wasting your time, so you go away. They feed us this shit. They feed us all this entertainment. Because you know what? They have made it impossible to make happiness truly attainable. People who work their butt offs still suffocate because they don't have enough money and they live paycheck to paycheck. What the fuck's going on? There are some weeks I don't get to see my dad. He works so much, and you know what? We're not doing so fantastically neither. So my dad's wasting his life away to work and provide for us in a society that won't reflect his work. That's tragic. Life is a tragedy. Why can't we strive to be happy and to live in a society where we can be happy? Is because the people who are in control right now are cultivating their own happiness somewhere else. And we have to fend off in the fucking sewers, it seems, hey? How do we cultivate happiness? Find it in your own bubble. Create it close by. Make a little biome for you, like where you do your activity. Keep it close. Keep it nice. Don't use your social media and reach into other people's fucking bubbles. Stay in your own bubble of happiness here. Interact with people, but don't. Do you see that nice bubble over there? Don't fuck with that bubble. How would you like it if someone fucked with your bubble, huh? How do you cultivate happiness? Mind your own goddamn business. How do you cultivate happiness? Try. How do you cultivate happiness? Get rid of it. Try to manage your life without it. Download another app that tracks your time on here and lets you know, hey, you spent too much time on here. Because everyone wants their money, right? So they're going to charge us like a one-time $10 fee for that app to help you get off of your phone. So how do you justify that purchase if you're not going to be on your phone? If it does its job, it better do its job for $10, right? But we know we can do it without the app. The first step is, like, I guess, realizing that what benefit is there to it? I don't know. I give you the tools. I try to help, you know. After all, who's watched this much? Who has viewed this entirely? If you're still here and you're listening to me, you want to be happy. And you want to make me happy too. I guess it's okay to reach in each other's bubbles, or if at least you're adding more to the bubble. But just imagine it. Just imagine if all of your happiness was in a little orb that you held in your hand, and it was it's malleable to your hands, and other people can go to your bubble and add to it. But if somebody took you have a bubble you've been cultivating for a long time, and if someone popped it, but they popped it like this, they don't know how long it's taken for you to cultivate this happiness that you have in front of you. Imagine someone doing that to you and your happiness crumbles. How do you feel? What did our moms tell us when we were young? Treat others the way you want to be treated. Shame on you. Shame on you. And for those of you who don't fuck up other people's bubbles, discontinue that. Just continue that. This has been an episode of Stav's True Plan. I'll see you guys later. Kisses.